The following is a presentation of iRacing on PTR TV. We'd like to thank all of our channel partners for their support. Please like and subscribe to the channel, and we hope you enjoy today's broadcast.
You know, we're at the third round of the season, and there's something nice about this track in that we're at the actual good Fuji track. This is a track that, you know, in terms of all of the Japanese tracks, this is the track that I find that I know, I love, I prefer, and when you get rid of the chicane, this is the best layout possible. So this is the one that I'm very, very excited to be at. Welcome, everybody, to Elbows Out Racing. This is the Know the Specs, Use the Specs 60 here in Fuji. It's going to be myself, Brad, in the booth. And as always, I am joined by Patrick here for another great round here of racing. So, Patrick, good evening, my friend. How are you?
I'm doing absolutely fantastic. And like you said, Fuji is one of, if not the best tracks in the country of Japan. And especially it's a lot better without the turn 11 chicane towards the end of Dunlop Corner. And with how intense this season has been, and we're only getting into round 3 now, I think this race is going to be pure cinema.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a good one to see here as we get going here and as everything starts up. Qualifying has been done and dusted. We missed that qualifying run, but that still means we can pull up our grid, and 40 cars strong here today as it goes, and this is how things sit. So you've got 5 LMP2s in the run here, a little bit lighter of an LMP2 field, but still should be good. In GT3 Pro, it is Colin Bourdon, Paul Nye Sr., Rich Calais, Joel Bandera, Peter Nodwell, Zachary Nerney, rounding out your top 6. And then, of course, Metterly, Stewart, Stenek, Masachewski, Mike Sermon, Martin Merkva, rounding out the pros. In the AM category, we're currently looking at Hugo Ortiz, Ethan Murphy, Jordan Scarrett, who I believe is actually supposed to be a GT3 Pro, but is showing an AM. Bechtel, Toppin, Tyler C, SEM, sitting there in P6 as it shows. Keyser, Pinero, McGuire, Chiapuzzo, Santriciero, Vasselman, Lanton, Glaser, Moore, Geckler, La Rosa, Wedderburn, Hemperly, Ondera, Hibbs, Aiden Toohey, and Graham Lewis. 23 cars in the GT3 AM category. So that GT3 AM is going to be stacked when it's all said and done. So, and of course, Hugo Ortiz is showing as a GT3 AM, but is indeed an LMP2 category driver here as the grid gets set. We'll get that corrected here shortly, but just know for now that as you see Hugo Ortiz, he is running through. Points are everywhere, and I'll tell you what, I think this is going to be a good race here, Patrick.
Indeed, yeah. I mean, this track, there's so many good opportunities to pass. I mean, yeah, the massive straightaway out of turn 15, the Panasonic corner, going down into Daiichi turn 1. And you can make some pretty wide passes through the 100R corner as well, turns 4 and 5. There's just so many good spots to try to make overtakes here on this track. So I think it's going to be an absolutely enjoyable race here today, as we are about to go ahead and get ready for the Know the Spec, Use the Spec 60 at Fuji Speedway.
Yeah, this is going to be a good race here. Weather conditions as it currently stands. We're looking at 73 degrees, 8-mile-an-hour wind. It's July 2nd, 6 p.m. here around Fuji. This is going to be a good race, and I think it's going to be one to enjoy as the formation lap gets underway. The GT3s will build that 5-second buffer that they need to the LMP3s, or LMP2s. GT3s, LMP2s. You can tell it's been a long week, but here we are with some great racing. So let's see how this plays out. GT3s will come down the field behind that BMW safety car here, and let's see what happens as they go. And here we go. BMW safety car will pull in here shortly, quickly, and well, it always waits very late to pull in, but here it comes.
Yeah, I feel like that'd be a pit limit violation for crossing the white lines. But like you said, we're about to go ahead and get ready to go. We have 6 LMP2s, and they are underway. They're going to make the run now down into the Daichi corner. Fantastic start. Let's see how it turns out. Going to go down into Daichi. It's probably one of the longest runs of any track we had this season, and a late dive there from that red LMP2 car that we saw on screens, and now it's checking on our GT3s. So far, pretty chaos-free, but we're just about to hit turn 1 with all these competitive GT3 cars.
Great run there from the GT3s as they get going into turn number 1. They keep things moving, keep things grooving, doing a great job side-by-side racing here. Colin Bourdon and Paul Nye Sr. keeping things side-by-side. This is going to be a competitive race here as they go, Patrick. Can't wait to see how this battle ends up. Looks like right now it's going to be to the inside, the 184, Colin Bourdon holding off Paul Nye, the donut guy. Hopefully no donuts here today as he goes through.
Yeah, I mean, so far it's been a pretty clean start here for the GT3s. A few cars running a bit wide, but that is the most drama we've seen here in the first lap so far. Cody Perodato got a fantastic getaway as well. Colin Bourdon doing very fantastic as well. Now, this is where that turn 11 chicane would be as they exit the Dunlop corner, but we have elected to use the superior version of the track, where you just go straight from the Dunlop corner all the way down to what would normally be turn 13.
Coming through down the main straight we go. GT3s continue along. Cody Perodato here up in front, holding on a commanding lead against Antonio Costa as they go through and get this race underway. Continuing through the corners here, the gorgeous Japanese countryside here around Fuji, and having a great time of it as they continue to run their way through and just keep that going here. And LMP2s sort of selling into that early single file run that you tend to see them do, that you know that they see and love. Let's see how they go through. And I do want to point out Hugo Ortiz yet again, currently showing here in the top of GT3 amps. That is actually going to be an LMP2 car. We'll get that corrected here momentarily. We'll have to take down the overlays temporarily for that, so hopefully everyone doesn't mind, as those will disappear here in just a moment. We'll restart those and get the correct picture there for where Hugo Ortiz is. Patrick, while we're getting that reset, I got to ask your opinion here. What do you think is the hardest part about being in this multi-class championship between LMP2, GT3 Pro, GT3 AM? Personally, I think the hardest thing is just, figuring out which class to run, which class you want to be in, and what the best option is.
I mean, that's a very hard choice too, because I know with the LMP2s, you're pretty much all driving the same car, so it's basically a spec series. The only major change is just down to what setup you run on it. But when it comes to GT3s, you have so many options that you can choose from. You could choose a McLaren, you could choose a Lamborghini, you could choose a Mustang, Corvette. The options are just about endless when it comes to that. And after you make that decision, I think in terms of the actual racing, it's just traffic management, regardless of what side of the coin you're on. Either you're trying to get through traffic as an LMP2, or if you watched prior seasons, the GTPs. And if you are the GT3 cars, you really got to manage having intense battles while there is a faster prototype car behind you giving you the blue flag. So I think in terms of the on-track difficulty, it's really going to be traffic management. But luckily on this circuit, it should be pretty easy to go ahead and get that settled, because you have that massive straight from turn 15 down into turn 1.
Yeah, same. And I think this is going to be fun here as we watch Hugo Ortiz continuing along and around and going through. just continuing through this middle part of the lap, going through, but LMP2 is very, very unstable as they go along and just continue to battle. And, you know, it's just it's very snappy, the car is, but also those tires are just still trying to warm up, but it's not very warm. That's the other thing that's happening.
Yeah, and I know in recent times the tire models have been updated for a lot of the cars here in iRacing, so the colder tires have been a bit trickier to get up to temp compared to prior builds of the platform. So that's another thing you really got to manage with these drivers, or with these cars in general, is getting those tires into the optimal window, because if they're cold tires, you're not really going to have a lot of grip. You're going to be sliding around a lot, like we see a few of these drivers. You're going to have a good amount of understeer, and you can ultimately just lose the car on a lot of corners. But when those tires are in the optimal window, you get so much grip that it is absolutely beautiful. And there, now we have the timing table updated. Now Ortiz is showing in the correct class, currently P5 in that number 72 LMP2 car. And I mean, he's having a pretty good run. He's pretty close to Malik Bash just up ahead.
Yeah, and as this battle with Malik Bass up ahead continues along and goes through, I mean, just watching these battles shape up. Checking back in a little bit further back, Colin Bourdon still holding the lead over Chris Stewart. Paul Nye, well, I hate to tell you, Paul Nye has indeed dropped well back. So not at all what we want to see. I am going to guess that happened while the overlay was resetting, so I have no indication of what happened to Paul and I, the donut guy, but the commentator's curse, much to the love of this league, is strong. It's here, it's alive, and I have gotten offered some money to commentator curse some people, and I would like to see someone pay up. So here is what I'm going to do, because I want to see my $5 that needs to come through. Apparently, I'm supposed to commentator curse Dwight Hibbs. I don't know why I'm supposed to commentator curse Dwight Hibbs, but I am, as Rich Calais is currently now facing the wrong way around. And let's see if we can't pick up a real quick replay of how that one happened.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. And this might just be a symptom of these tires being ice cold. And here we go. Now we're seeing the replay. I believe we're seeing the replay. There's the replay. He's going to go through, just going to put the power down. Oh, sausage curbs! Turning that Mustang into a rally car. I mean, I know Ford has a good history in rally racing, especially the Dakar. But, you're not supposed to do that here at Fuji.
We're going to go on board here, because that's a weird moment that we just saw. And I don't like to do this often, but we're going to just... I mean...
Oop.
What in the world was that?
Now, I think this is the solid reason, Brad, why you and I are generational haters of sausage curbs. Because of that right there. They just launch you into orbit for no good reason. And I mean, it was a good drive up until that point, but not much you can do when sausage curbs decide that you're gonna become Ford Mustang Airlines.
Yeah, I hope they don't suffer the same fate as Boeing. Hopping on board here, watching this battle coming through. This is going to be Tyler Stenick, who is currently trying to have a great battle there in second place, with Chris Stewart separated by a tenth of a second.
Yeah, he's getting really close there. The two cars, it's kind of similar liveries. Now that I'm kind of looking at it from this angle, I don't believe they're not on the same team, because when it comes to the team structure here at Elbows Out Racing, you have to be in the same vehicle in the same class. So Tyler Stenick is trying to chase down Chris Stewart up ahead, and this is a very entertaining battle. And with this layout of the track, you can battle quite a bit. So, and I think we're seeing a beautiful display of that right here.
Yeah, great battle continuing on. Battle up front, separated by about 0.4 of a second, half a second. Antonio Costa trying to chase down our race leader of Cody Peredato. And let's see what can come out of this one, because this is going to be a interesting battle that comes up as they go through. Separated by about half a second, continuing to just push things along here. This is your battle for the overall race lead 10 minutes in, as they stand and continue to just challenge and just kind of figure things out while they go.
Indeed. I mean, we've seen these drivers be really quick before, so seeing two extremely quick drivers battling it out around this fantastic circuit is just beautiful to watch. Antonio Costa is keeping that gap pretty close to Cody Peredato, just up ahead, but Cody's doing a pretty good job to also kind of manage that gap. They're just about to start running into traffic now, so that is going to go ahead and play a factor. And like we've said on every single broadcast here for the Elbows Out Racing series, it is traffic taketh and traffic giveth away. Got that slightly messed up, but you get the idea.
No, you had that right. I don't think that was wrong at all here. As we go through, continue to watch this battle happen between Chris Stewart and Tyler Stenick. That battle continues. I see Tyler C battling it out with Ethan Murphy right now. Man, tell you what, the puns are thick and fast today as they go through. Seeing Tyler C continue along here and run through with Ethan Murphy. This is a great battle to watch and continue to keep an eye on. I also want to keep an eye back behind here. Matt Toppin is kind of the meat in the sandwich of a big old battle that's going on between Daniel Pinero, Parker Chiapuzzo, Julius Mashevsky, and Jordan Scarrett, that are all battling it out, going through. Those are great battles that are happening. Brian Metterly now trying to battle it out with Zachary Nerney, the Coke Zero car, continuing to run through. Watch a little bit of the bumper, and that's Zachary Nerney around. And that was Brian Metterly kind of tasting a little bit of revenge going up into the wall.
Poetic justice there. And Zachary Nerney, I think his chances of winning this race have dropped to 0 as he just got spun around like a ballerina just from that very light contact from the BMW Metterly as he is now entering the pits. I am not sure if he's serving a drive-through or repairing. It looks like repairs now that he's pulling into the pits.
Let's see what he's doing here as he goes in. Is he just going to park and call it a day? No, he is in, tires up. And remember, in Elbows Out, it is mandatory. You have to take 4 tires in the pits. So when you take those 4 tires, that is you fulfilling things. So we got to see, will he go 47 minutes going through? I wouldn't be surprised a bit, honestly, to see that happen as he goes through.
Yeah, with the removal of the chicane right at the end of the Dunlop corner, you do save your tires just a little bit because you don't have to make that extra turn. So, I mean, you're going to be able to save your tires a little bit here, but I'm not sure if he'll be able to make it all the way to the end. If he does make it all the way to the end, though, first off, kudos to him because that's going to play really nicely in his favor. But his tires are going to be begging for mercy. They're probably going to be held on together by duct tape and dreams.
That they are, but man, it's worth the risk at this point. If your race goes that upside down, you might as well try something here. Check it back in up with this battle up front. Antonio Costa still trying to chase down Cody Peredato, separated by half a second, just sort of holding on board here with him and just trying to find time while he can, just keeping that battle moving and grooving, doing a great job of it, I would say, of just trying to keep this race competitive here in this 6-car class as they run along. And, when it's only a 6-car class and things kind of start to spread out, you have to be careful with how things go, and pit stop strategy starts to become more important. We know Antonio Costa is fast, but I'm curious to see what happens here between Antonio Costa and Cody Peredato, if any strategy comes in, where things go as we're starting to hit that lap traffic card coming through.
Yeah, and I mean, we'll just have to see how these drivers navigated. Traffic navigation is such a skill, and there's a spinning Porsche in the background. Porsche doing Porsche things. And that is the number 28 Porsche, Benjamin Bechtel, waiting for the cars to go ahead and go through before rejoining the track. Good sportsmanship there. He is going to return, but he is well off of the racing line. And that's another nice thing about this track. It is a very wide track, so you can make overtakes and also you can get back into the race if you go off without really running the risk of pulling out in front of a car that's you're ultimately going to take you and that other car out. So, I mean, good job on Benjamin Bechtel for going ahead and just waiting it out until he had a clear moment to rejoin the track.
Yeah, it's good sportsmanship that you see coming through there. Checking back in up front, this battle is continuing to get close as traffic plays in, and that's really what I like to see is traffic coming into the mix of this and continuing to go along, because it makes things really exciting to see the traffic start to play in. Antonio Costa using that traffic to his advantage to close that gap to Cody Perodato as he can. But I will say that Jamil Gummer here in third place is also taking advantage of that traffic and trying to close it as well, and has managed to do so. Top three separated by under a second and a half currently.
Yeah, so it's a very good battle here. Jamil Gummer going ahead and navigating through this traffic. Now, we do say that traffic giveth and traffic taketh away. And, I mean, right now, it is really giving an opportunity to Jamil Gummer to really kind of close in this gap to the cars up ahead. It looks like he did lose a slight bit of time to these cars. Oh, he gets super close to the back of that number 807 McLaren. And, ooh, that could have went very sideways, but luckily it did not. No contact made. The only downside is that Jamil Gummer did lose a little bit of time to the cars up ahead, but Cody Perodato, Antonio Costa still fighting it out. But the thing about Jamil Gummer is that he was our winner from the first round of the season, which was at Daytona, and then he's had some pretty decent performances here in his rookie season. He won his debut race, which in itself is very impressive considering how competitive this field is here at Elbows Out Racing. But he's also in a really prime spot. If Antonio Costa or Perodato make a mistake or spin, then Jamil Gummer immediately benefits from that.
Yeah, so all he's got to do is just really sort of hang out there and go. And he's doing great at that. I want to check back in here in GT3 fighting because, well, GT3 is kind of a cluster right now. So this is Peter Nodwell, this is Joe Bandera, and then you see Tyler C currently leading GT3 AM with Ethan Murphy not that far behind. So you have 4th and 5th in GT3 Pro, along with the top 2 in GT3 AM that are separated out here. And Tyler C is really feeling the pressure right now from Ethan Murphy, trying to find a run here, trying to find a way past, and is just continuing to sort of push this battle while he can, find a way through, find a move going. And remember, we're only 20 minutes into a 60-minute race. We're a third race distance right now.
It's not crazy that time has flown by that fast. That just shows you how much fun we're having here in the commentary booth and how much fun these drivers are having on track, as we're seeing a fantastic battle involving Tyler C. I think he got a little bit of contact with the McLaren. Gets a little love tap from behind. And that is Joel Bandera getting spun around a bit, and it's a bit of an unsafe rejoin as well.
And we'll get a quick replay of that one and see if we can't tell, what the situation was with that. Was that just a case of a poor rejoin? And I hate to be the bearer of bad news. The answer is yes. That was a rejoin unsafely is what that was.
Yeah, the stewards are going to have a bit of a field day with that one. As we're going to have a field day with Antonio Costa. He's trying to get that lead. He's chasing. Those cars are literally within an inch of each other. He's shaking for a move on the outside of Cody Perodato. There's a McLaren in front, so that's going to give Antonio Costa the beautiful inside line. He goes to the Daichi, takes the lead of this race, and Antonio Costa in that number 13 LMP2 takes the race lead. But Cody Perodato isn't too far behind, so he'll be looking to recapitalize once we exit the Panasonic corner and go back towards Daichi.
Yeah, such a great run there from him to get that pass done. Now he's got to try to hold on as much as he can and just keep this moving and grooving. Cody Perodato, though, we know is very, very fast. And unfortunately, through all that, Jamil Gummer is 3 seconds back from this battle and is now just sitting a bit further back. You have another battle that's developed here between Hugo Ortiz and Malik Bass as they continue to battle here. Parker Chiapuzzo trying to put some pressure on Daniel Pinero still as they go through. Nathan Hemperly and Christian Ondera battling it out as they now have the leader Antonio Costa carving through. That is a Mustang off to the side who is going to stay well out of the way. That's Mike Sermon who is off and is now into the pits as Cody Perodato just right on that rear bumper. Let's hop on board with Cody Perodato, because how do you handle this battle? How do you negotiate the traffic, but also at the same time chase down this race leader and use the slipstream, use the slow traffic to your advantage, but make sure that you don't make an unnecessary, dangerous move here. Got 0.2 of a second, continuing to close, coming through down into the inside of turn 1. Hard on the brakes we go, and down to the inside. Little wiggle there from Antonio Costa under braking. Not able to make the move stick yet, but certainly is in the mix of it.
Yeah, that was a good attempt from Cody Perodato. He lined his car up in a very good spot to really try to make that dive, and he sent it, but it didn't quite deliver. And I think both of these drivers have managed this traffic beautifully to this point, but now the McLaren does get right in between Cody and Antonio. A little bit of advantage there towards Antonio Costa, but he gets around the McLaren. Oh, he's not quite around the McLaren yet. Now he'll pass the McLaren, going through what I believe is 100R. Going through now onto the Dunlap curve, and a bit of a wide moment there for Perodato as he's trying to chase down Antonio Costa. Now the question is that was that a side effect of the dirty air coming off the back of Antonio Costa's LMP2, Brad?
I certainly wouldn't be surprised if it was, because that air can take off downforce, can take off grip, can prove to be problematic if you are not careful. See how things go here as they continue along. Battles continue through, and I gotta say, a big shout out to IDI for sponsoring this league, International Decorators Inc. Great supporters of the league here, bringing this broadcast to you and making sure that everything that we do here can be supported as well. Be sure to check them out at 4idi.com as they go through. They have sponsored the full season here of Elbows Out Racing to bring all of this on-track action to you, including the battle up front between Costa and Perodato, but including the battle in GT3 between Tyler C., Ethan Murphy, and Julius Mashevsky is the car behind, with Jordan Scarrett just behind there as well. So you've got a bunch of GT3s so close together, and right now, if you are Tyler C., this is what it looks like when you look out of that left rear suspension or that right rear suspension, is you've got some feisty, hungry cars just behind.
Yeah, these drivers are like a pack of piranhas waiting for their prey to make the tiniest of slip-ups here. The cars probably sound pretty close to piranhas as well. Tyler C., the only thing he can see out of his rearview mirrors is this gaggle of cars that are just eagerly waiting for any kind of opportunity to go ahead and make it through. Now we are on the massive start-finish straight here, so all the cars right behind Tyler C. are going to get a massive slipstream, and this is a slipstream train going through as they make their way down into turn number 1, which is known as the Daichi corner. Ethan Murphy right behind, going to maybe shake for a move, but he decides to tuck right back in behind Tyler C. Decides to wait for another opportunity to make the move. It looked like he started the corner a bit faster than Tyler. The two cars almost colliding ever so slightly. But, hey, it's been a very entertaining battle in this GT3 field, nevertheless.
That it has. This has been such a great battle to watch from all of them as they go through, and this battle isn't going to stop anytime soon. Here's Ethan Murphy goes through, and here's our race leader Antonio Costa diving through, and in front of Antonio, well, that is Ethan Murphy and Tyler C. going side by side. Now what does Antonio Costa decide to do? You have to pick your move carefully here, because you've got the battle for GT3 AM lead side by side there beside you. You need to be careful there, and a great way to pick through as they reverse the battle here. Tyler C. to the outside, inside is Ethan Murphy. Ethan Murphy, a little bit of a wiggle there, has to back out of it, and now that is going to allow Cody Perodato Peridotto to pick his way around the outside, the inside there. And as he does that, that lets Tyler C get a little bit of relief, but not much, but just enough right now. And that is all you really need, is just a little bit of relief.
Yeah, because like we were talking about last stream, or the last time we covered Elbows Out Racing, is that diamonds are formed under pressure, but so are mistakes. And Ethan Murphy is going to try to continue to pile on that pressure onto Tyler C as they go ahead and continue to battle it out. They're in a massive slipstream now. The LMP2 of Jamil Gummer is going to be right alongside Ethan Murphy, but the LMP2 is a quicker car, so that should be a easy pass. No question, but it's going to be a dive from the Honda NSX of Julius Majewski, I believe. And he had an idea. He was going to send it, and he's still not giving up. Still trying to take the place off of Ethan Murphy. And I mean, these cars are packed together like a can of sardines as they make their way through the Coca-Cola corner and on the way to 100R.
And as they make their way through here, continue along, it's one of those that they're being smart about picking when to pass, but you still have to make the pass happen. We're approaching half race distance now with 34 minutes, 45 seconds left to go here. So you gotta, you can't afford to just sort of sit and go. You have to pick a move. You have to make a move. And unfortunately, sometimes that is easier said than done for these cars. But when you're in this long train here, look at this sea of cars behind Tyler C as they go through. I mean, Ethan Murphy, Julius Machewski, Jordan Scarrett, Matt Topp, and Daniel Pinero. I would even include Parker Chiapuzzo in that mix, even though he's about a second off. Well, now he's out of this mix because of that. But look at this line of cars just coming through as they continue to fight their way around here and just do what they can. But we're about to hit pit stops. Pit stops are starting for some of the drivers. We've had about a third of the field pit now. And as they get into the pits and they pit through, that is going to start to really mix things up as our leader is now in Tyler C into the pits.
Tyler saw an opportunity to make a good pit stop, try to get the undercut going, and he took it. We'll see if the undercut works. But the big thing with multi-class racing here at the Multi-Class 60 Championship is that you got to really pick your moment to make the pit stop, because the big thing about the undercut is you need your outlap to be absolutely fantastic. And if you get stuck in traffic either from LMP2s or other GT3 cars, then your outlap gets really, really slow, and it allows the overcut, which is the opposite side of that coin, to really take effect.
That it does. Checking back in up here, Daniel Pinero battling it out with Matt Toppin. Was separated by only a couple tenths of a second here as they go through and keep this battle moving. And I tell you what, I do not envy any of these LMP2 drivers who are trying to work their way through traffic as they go. Watching Antonio Costa, who's made his way through, but Hugo Ortiz, who just snaked his way through, and Malik Bass, who is just now getting his way through. I mean, if we hop on board here with Malik, I mean, you just kind of watch. There's not a lot you can really say or do at some points. You sort of just have to settle in or spin like that right in front of you. You have to be able to react quickly.
Yeah, your reaction time has to be so important in any form of esports, really, especially sim racing. Because of moments like that, Ethan Murphy got spun around, and I mean, that could have been a disaster. Multiple cars could have been taken out as a result of that, but these extremely talented drivers had such good reflexes that I don't think it really collected anybody else. But I mean, that was as good a time as any to make that pit stop for Ethan Murphy, just because his tires are now cooked with that slide. Definitely got some flat spots on those slicks.
Yeah, so pitting in then definitely the best option for him there to go through, and does so. So let's see how long he's in. He's in and going, and let's see, Ethan Murphy, how long in the box is it going to be? Well, for Ethan Murphy, 17, 19, 20, 21 and a half seconds in the box. So that is a good pit stop. That is what I would expect for 4 tires and fuel to get to the end here in this GT3 field here. So great decision from him as he goes through, continues this battle on into the night. 31 minutes left to go here. Plenty of pit stops cycling through. Still have about half the field left to stop. We've had a few drivers drop out of this race as it stands. Wedderburn is out. Mike Sermon's out. Seth Vosselman is out. Paul Nye is 5 laps down and counting. You see his teammate Zachary Nerney is in as well going through. Aiden Toohey is currently, I would say, the first driver in sort of a reasonable position, but is 2 laps down, continuing along. Let's see here. Cody Perodato currently sitting in second place, about 0.8 of a second off of the race leader, Antonio Costa. We continue to keep our eyes on that battle. Up front in GT3 Pro, Colin Bourdon has about a 4-second lead over Tyler Stenick back here in the back, who is trying to keep a gap there to Chris Stewart, who is about 4 or 5 seconds behind from there.
Yeah, so I mean, that's going to be a pretty big key to this race, is trying to manage your car. I mean, this is going to be a race of attrition for a lot of these drivers, because now the LMP2s are rapidly lapping around these GT3 cars as we are just about to hit the halfway point of this race. Less than 30 minutes left to go. Dwight Hibbs under a ton of pressure. Oh, sorry, he's putting a ton of pressure onto David Moore in that Mercedes AMG, trying to chase down the other German car up ahead, the number 054 Porsche of David Moore. He's going to try to get this pass done and dusted, but he's not really in the best spot of the racetrack to go ahead and make the overtake. But Dwight Hibbs thinking about sending it around the outside in that Hatsune Miku themed Mercedes AMG. Going to go ahead and try. He's close now. The gap is just over 1/10 of a second. They go through Dunlop Curve. It's going to make things a lot easier to follow with the subtraction of the chicane. He's going to put pedal to the metal. Maybe a bit of a wide moment there from Dwight, it appeared, at least from the angle I saw it from, but we'll just have to see how this battle goes. His best chance for Dwight Hibbs is to try to make that pass in the start-finish straight just shortly after the Panasonic corner.
Yeah, and definitely going to be a good decision there. But as we see that 054 David Moore peeling off into the pits, so I have a feeling that David Moore is just going to cede this battle as it goes. So pit stops continuing to mix things up here. 28 minutes left to go, and now more cars continuing into the pits. Dwight Hibbs will be released here to run through. Antonio Costa, this is where I'm really getting my eyes drawn. You know, in GTP last season, there were a lot of moments where we saw battles just sort of sit and not happen. And, you know, GTP, once they sort of found their rhythm and spread out, they didn't have big moments. This has been a consistent pressure cooker of a battle that's gone on between Cody Perodato and Antonio Costa, currently gapped by half a second as they go. And, you know, when you look at those current lap sectors between them, Cody Perodato last lap was faster, but that was with traffic being involved here. Let's see what happens this lap with these two as they go on pace.
Indeed, yeah. Costa is going to try to get closer to Perodato. And another thing, too, about the GTPs versus the LMP2s is that the GTPs, some cars were clearly better than others in specific spots. I mean, the BMW had a pretty good straight line speed advantage compared to a lot of the cars. The Porsche seemed to be better in some of the corners. But when you're running the LMP2s, it is purely down to setup. You have the same engines, the same bodywork. It's all the same car. It just really depends on your driving style and what kind of setup you're running on this LMP2 car. So it really comes down more to the driver knowledge of the car versus any specific specs. But right now, Antonio Costa is seemingly getting held up here by the traffic, by the number 46 BMW. He's going to try to get past, but this is really not a good spot to get past. But it looks like Cody Perodato is stuck behind a car himself. Costa gets through. But that looked like it was almost contact there between the 46 and Antonio Costa.
Battle continuing all the way along here and going around. Pit stop still cycling things through. Hugo Ortiz now has a black flag showing. So Hugo Ortiz, I'm going to assume that is something to do with track limits, which I didn't think track limits would really be an issue here at Fuji, but apparently it is. So
yeah,
Hugo,
I thought the biggest... Go ahead.
Hugo Ortiz is going to have to figure that one out. Not sure how that happened.
I mean, luckily for these drivers, that there is a drop round that they could take, so this might be the drop round for Hugo Ortiz here. But I honestly thought that, especially after the Mustang Airlines incident towards the opening stages of this race, I thought the sausage curbs were going to be a huge issue on this track. But so far, I don't think it's really affected anyone aside from Mustang Airlines earlier. So we'll see. Hopefully that remains the case. Hopefully there's only one car that gets sent to the stratosphere over those sausage curbs.
Great battles going all the way around here. 25 minutes left to go in this race. So tell you what, we're going to take a moment here, step aside with some temporarily loud engines. Let's jump on board with someone who is already pit, which is going to be either Hugo Ortiz in LMP2, or I have a plethora of GT3s to pick. Who are we feeling today? Do we want GT3s or do we want LMP2s?
Let's go with one of the GT3s.
All right, let's hop on board with, let's give have we given the Lamborghini love in a while?
I don't think so.
Okay, we're going to give the Lamborghini some love. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to step aside here and do some temporarily loud engines. Don't go anywhere. When we come back, we'll take you through the remainder of this race. But here on this run here today, you can tell words are struggling for me, but we're going to go do some temporarily loud engines. Stick around, ladies and gentlemen. We will be back momentarily. All right, and after an extended temporarily loud engines, apologies for that, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. We are going. 18 minutes left to go. Pit stops have cycled for everyone but the top three. Excuse me, but the top three here. So let's go ahead and do a quick breakdown of your field in its entirety as it stands, starting with the LMP2s here, Patrick, where up front it's still Peridotto and Costa battling it out here by 0.4 of a second.
Yeah, these two have been pretty much going non-stop throughout the entirety of this race. I mean, the name of the race is the know the spec, use the spec, and I think these drivers are 100% using all the specs, all the stats, all these LMP2 cars, and they're having a really fantastic battle in these beautiful Dallara-made machines.
Yeah, and keeping this battle going all the way through this race has been so impressive. Using those specs, as you said, and knowing what they have on the table. And look at that, faking each other out. They've got to be getting to the ragged edge of needing to pit here, but they're faking each other in and out on the decisions to pit. You know, when do you pit, when do you not? Well, we're on board with Antonio Costa. We know he's got at least one more lap before he can pit here. Let's see what he does, and I think he's really just trying to follow Cody Peridotto, maybe trying to see if he can get a little bit of extra time in the pits, or a little bit of extra time saved in the pits.
Yeah, we'll just have to see how this one plays out indeed, as Antonio Costa is trying to get close to Cody Peridotto. Cody Peridotto having to go wide to get around the GT3 car. And this battle is, once again, super close between these two, and they're basically just playing a game of chicken at this point. Who's going to go ahead and take the pit stop first? Because, I mean, it's something that these drivers are going to really consider, and I'm sure they're running it through their head constantly as they're going through this battle, is that when they come out, are they going to be stuck in traffic even when they do make the pit stop? And another thing is, too, is even if they get out into that clear track where there's no real traffic for them to really worry about, so they can just run at their pace and not really get impeded by anyone, those tires on the LMP2 are going to be ice cold when they exit the pit, so they really got to try to bring them in as well.
Swerve there from Cody Peridotto, goes inside, goes back outside, again fakes the pit. So another lap of no pit stop here for Cody Peridotto as he goes through, and he was slower that final sector because of that. Does that open the door for Antonio Costa to get a pass into turn one? Well, he's certainly going to think about it here as he goes through, looks down into the inside, looks around, and still not able to make that pass work here as he goes. The number 51 there on the front edge of your screen, just behind him the number 13 of Costa as he goes through. That is the white and the lighter UK style blue against that dark Duke blue. Seems appropriate UK Duke battle going through. If you're a basketball fan, then you know. And if you are a fan of Duke, then you are 1,000,000% wrong, and that's where I'm going to leave that as we come through and around and keep this battle moving. A little bit further back, there's also been battles brewing through as we go check out our GT3 Pro category here on the night, but not before we watch this battle finish itself up and develop a little bit more. They got another run through, another possible run at the end of this lap to go for a pit stop. Are they going to go for a pit stop this time through? These very evenly matched, very fast drivers, are they going to go for a pit stop this time? Just in front of them is, I believe, Tyler Stenick, as that is going to be Jake Glazer, who was spun around there on the side. Looks like he just had a poor exit potentially, and it caught him off guard. That is the 184, Colin Bourdon going through, and is this finally pit stop time? Is Cody Peridotto in? Cody Peridotto is committed to the bit. He's under the white line. He's in. Antonio Costa is in as well. Let's see how these two do.
Yeah, indeed. And also not to mention that last time out, it's Antonio Costa won last time out, so he's definitely got a lot of momentum from last week. So he's really going to try to ramp it all up. Because, I mean, consistency is what's going to win you this championship. So, I mean, you got to have consistent performances throughout the season if you want to claim the championship here at Elbows Out Racing in any series for that matter. So, I mean, it's interesting to see how this battle plays out, and I kind of figured that these two were going to go ahead to pit at the same time. And oh, hey, would you look at that? That is either Paul Knight Sr. or Zachary Nerney leaving the pits.
I am going to tell you that is Zachary Nerney leaving the pits after a 1,200 second pit stop. I can't tell you how long that is. I can tell you that's a long one, though. 21 seconds flat in the box, 51.6 lane time, 51.8 lane time, 21.1 in the box. So slightly slower there for our race leader of Cody Perodato. As it sits, Jamil Gummer still needs to pit, but slightly slower for our race leader. And that slightly slower may result in Antonio Costa being able to get past.
So I did a bit of quick math, and if my math is correct, Zachary Nerney was in the pits for 21 minutes straight, like on the dot, 21 minutes. So that is a generational pit stop. Not as long as Valtteri Bottas's pit stop from Monaco one season, where it was like 40 some hours of them trying to get that singular tire off of that Mercedes, but still pretty long in the scope of this race.
It was exactly 21 minutes. You are correct. I actually just had to double check that here on my side on the software, and 21 minutes is what I'm seeing. So headlights are on. Action is going here, going through the sun setting in Fuji. Current time is 6:51 p.m. 72 degrees air, 74 degree track temp as it stands. And as we see here, Antonio Costa losing time actually there to Cody Perodato. Lost about a second that lap as Jamil Gummer is in the pits and relieves the lead over here as it goes. Checking in on this GT3 Pro category as that battle shaped itself out. It's Colin Bourdon currently leading by 4.6 seconds over Tyler Stenick, with Chris Stewart a further 10 plus seconds behind there, with Peter Nodwell a further 10 seconds behind that. So this GT3 Pro field has really separated itself, and they are very much showing the difference in pace and the difference in run as they go. They've had a pretty good go, but for GT3 Pro, they've really just settled into the rhythm since the race start.
Yeah, I mean, this field has spread out quite a bit, and it hasn't been as close as the LMP2 battle, which I can make a very solid bet is probably still going on as we speak. But yeah, sometimes just how these races go for this class is just they just get to the rhythm and settle in. And I mean, that's honestly probably one of the best things you can do on the driver's perspective. Obviously, we love to see fantastic battles here on the broadcast, but if you're a driver, you really just want to go ahead and get in a groove and stick in that groove, because the more you battle, the more likely you are to crash or have an incident. So if you're Colin Bourdon right now, who has got a 5-second lead to Tyler Stenick behind, then you're pretty much exactly where you want to be at this point.
Yeah, absolutely that. You just need to run and keep it moving and grooving. Checking in here, 10 minutes left to go in the GT3 AM battles. And GT3 AM, this is not a battle for position, but this is a battle overall that we're seeing between Tyler C. and Joel Bandera that was just ahead. Tyler C., your current GT3 AM leader. And with under 10 minutes left to go, 1.7 seconds separates Tyler C. and Daniel Pinero as they go through and continue to battle, keep things moving and grooving. Parker Chiapuzzo several seconds behind that as they go. But this field has been very, very widely contested. 3 drivers out, Aiden Tui, Andre Wedderburn, Seth Vosselman are the 3 drivers out. Dayton McGuire is down 2 laps. Ryan Geckler is down a lap. Doug LaRosa is down a lap. And Benjamin Bechtel is almost down a lap. So, but otherwise, again, this field has been fairly close, fairly competitive as they've kept things going.
And that's the thing I love about being here at iRacing, is that there's always a battle happening somewhere on track, whether it's GT3s, LMP2s. They could even be within its own class with GT3 Pro battling it out, or it could be GT Amp, or it could be a mixture of the bunch. There's so many drivers that are extremely quick, extremely talented, and extremely skilled behind the wheel of whatever car they're driving. Whether it's LMP2s, GT3s, GTPs, it doesn't matter. These drivers are really talented as Ethan Murphy lines up a move. Gonna try to fired around the outside, or actually, correction, down the inside of the Daiichi corner. He's got more real estate. He makes the move. And Ethan Murphy is up into P3 in class. A fantastic move from the McLaren.
Very good move from that McLaren indeed. Checking in back up front, Cody Peredato and Antonio Costa. They've been snaking their way through traffic, and that's helped Antonio Costa start to close that gap a little bit more. 1.3 seconds, still closing in a little bit here. Actually, well, as I say that, it goes out to 1.4 seconds and continues to run along here. 8 minutes left to go in this race. Antonio Costa's opportunities to get this pass done, completed, and get this battle forward are starting to become fewer and far between as they continue through. Pit stops for everyone have been complete, by the way, so everyone has managed to make their pit stop to some degree, with some drivers of varying pit stop times to others.
Yeah, and I mean, we're down to the last like 7.5 minutes of this race, so I mean, it would be pretty silly for somebody to have not made a pit stop yet, because it's going to take about a lap or two to get those tires into that correct operational window. So, I mean, it's good that these drivers have made a stop. The only downside to these pit stops that I'm seeing is that it did separate this battle from Cody Peredato and Antonio Costa, and Peredato is starting to pull away from this one. He is just not, I mean, Antonio's just not been able to really close that gap back up.
Yeah, it's so, I don't know what it is here. It's caused Antonio Costa to kind of hit this, like, roadblock at this point, but he's not able to get anything through. Brian Metterly has managed to let his way past Tyler C, and Tyler C will see that BMW ahead, but again, this is not a battle for class position, but overall position. P13 overall as they stand, as Tyler C is the GT3 AM leader ahead of Daniel Pinero by 2.1 seconds here going through. Colin Bourdon maintains a 6-second lead over Tyler Stenick as they maintain through. That Mercedes looking very comfortable, I have to say, up in the front of the GT3 Pro category field.
Yeah, and actually just taking a look at the standings right now in the championship for this LMP2 category, Cody Peredato is about 10 points behind Antonio Costa. Antonio Costa with 84 points on the board, only 3 points ahead of Jamil Gummer. That is going to go ahead and get extended. But another fun fact is that Eric Mack is actually tied with Cody Peredato with 64 points apiece. Obviously, Eric Mack is not here tonight, so that's going to go ahead and separate that tie in the standings at the moment. But Cody Peredato is going to close that gap to Antonio Costa in the championship. Not completely, but ever so slightly. And in this championship, in any championship for that matter, every point is going to matter.
That it does. And a quick reminder, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you joining us next week, week 4, it is a 90-minute race. So it is the endurance layout of Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps. 90-minute race next week. So make sure you mark your calendars. An extra 30 minutes of action from Spa will be coming your way. Patrick, I don't know about you, but I'm excited. I like Spa, so I think the extra 30 minutes of racing is going to be a good run to see. And then from there we go CTMP, Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, for the 16th of July. And then from there, we're going to go to Road America, which is a fun track. Silverstone, Long Beach, Michelin Raceway, Road Atlanta. With a chance of rain. And then VIR, Hockenheim, and Indianapolis Motor Speedway for the season finale all the way on the 3rd of September. So you've got action every Wednesday getting us all the way to the end of September, or the start of September. Wow, not the end of September, the start of September. And I can't wait to bring that to you here on PTR TV alongside you, Patrick, because as far as I know, you're joining me for everything.
Unless some emergency pops up, but yes, I do plan on being here in the commentary box with you and this fantastic lead for every remaining round of the season, unless something comes up, which hopefully it doesn't. But another good way for everybody at home to go ahead and make sure you're up to date with anything that we do here at PTR TV is to go ahead and drop a like, subscribe, turn on notifications. That way you will not miss the cinema that is going to be the Spa 90 minutes here at Elbows Out Racing, and also all the other races that we broadcast here on PTR TV.
Check this out up front. I just happened to notice this with 3.5 minutes left to go. Antonio Costa has turned on the fast switch here. Gap currently sitting about 0.8 of a second. Gained 0.9 of a second on the last lap. So still tons of time to be found for him, and it looks like he may just be closing things in right here as the sun goes down. Jamil Gummer has now picked up a penalty that I am going to guess is for track limits and probably a drive-through. So Jamil Gummer giving up a P3 here today and will be relegated to at least P5 of that 6-car class. But with only a couple more laps left to go, this battle up front, this is going to get spicy.
Indeed, yeah. And just doing some quick math in my head real quick, on laps 35 and 36, Antonio Costa gained about 1.2 seconds. He did lose about 0.9 of that though. So it's going to be just a little bit under that 1.2 second mark, but still, that's an impressive gain in the span of 2 laps nevertheless. And you could have not picked a better time to do that, as we are down to the final 2 minutes and about 10 seconds coming up here very shortly. But yeah, you got about 2 more laps left to go in this race. It is pretty much make or break time for Antonio Costa.
Yeah, this is going to be a fun one to watch here for them, but Antonio Costa 9 milliseconds slower that lap than Cody Perodato, but that is just, I mean, the margins are so thin here, but that is still one to watch here. Let's watch on the current lap time where he expects to be. It looks like he is going to be faster this lap to some degree, but it's just a matter of how much here as they work their way through traffic. That is Zach Nerney, I believe, right there that they are going past. Actually, it's not. That is Paul Nye, the donut guy, that they are working past here as Cody Perodato and Antonio Costa continue to try to figure this battle out. Let's see as they cross the line where the lap difference is, and it is going to swing in the favor of Antonio Costa. Half a second the gap here on what should be the white flag this time by, with 60 seconds left to go in this race today. This is going to be such a great run for them, and I don't know how this is going to end. I think this is going to be a very, very close one, though, when it's all said and done. But for Cody Perodato, it's a matter of just trying to hold on as much as possible.
I think Cody Perodato's consistency is going to go ahead and get him a win here. He's been very consistent since the stop. Antonio Costa just didn't quite have that early on pace. So I think it's going to go the way of Perodato. But like you said, anything can happen. It is very unpredictable. The unpredictability about how a race is going to end is the only predictable thing about motorsports. And I think that sealed the deal right there. Just getting caught a little bit behind that Porsche gives Cody Perodato quite the amount of breathing room that he needs. And as long as he doesn't spin on these next few corners, I think he's got this race done and dusted, Brad.
Yeah, I definitely would agree with that here, as Cody Perodato will come around and checkered flag should be out here, I believe. Let's see what happens as they come through. Yes, final lap coming through. And for Cody Perodato, he's just got to cross the line now, perfectly timed. But it's a run to the line here. Antonio Costa is going to come through side by side. They finished 1-2 for a great photo finish. Cody Perodato will take the win here on the run tonight here around Fuji. And then Colin Bourdon will hold on an 8-second lead over Tyler Stenick at the moment, and he should cross the line momentarily. In the AM category, I see Tyler C coming across the line now in the Porsche. He is going to win here in the AM category and take that Porsche across the line for a great finish.
Yeah, he's going to be the first one to see that checkered flag in the GT3 AM category, and this has been a fantastic race. In all categories. I mean, Colin Bourdon had a generational drive here in Fuji. I mean, Cody Perodato and Antonio Costa they were a driving highlight reel together throughout this race. Very intense battling. I'm sure both drivers were sweating buckets, and Tyler C had a fantastic run as well, finishing in first place. He's got a race win on what I believe is his rookie season, so good job for Tyler.
A great run from him to go through. Colin Bourdon will now bring it across the line as we continue to see cars come through. You got to feel for Antonio Costa there. It could have been a very, very hard win there, but in the end, separated by a very thin margins, finding things through. Let's go through our full screen results here and get this post show going as Cody Peredato is going to pace his way around here in the end of this race here. Again, brought to you by IDI, International Decorators, Inc. The Know the Specs, Use the Specs 60 here around Fuji. Here is your LMP2 race results after 39 laps. Cody Peredato is your overall winner with that great formation finish there with Antonio Costa, Malik Bass in third, Jamil Gummer in fourth, Hugo Ortiz in fifth, and Bob Carey 1 lap down. In GT3 Pro, Colin Bourdon takes the win over Tyler Stenik by 8 seconds, and then Chris Stewart, Peter Nodwell, Julius Mashevsky, Joel Bandera, Brian Medderly, Rich Calais, Paul Nye Sr., Zachary Nerney, Mike Sermon, and Martin Merkva, the 12 drivers in GT3 Pro. In the GT3 AM category, it was Tyler C. I see him in the win with 1.8 seconds over Daniel Pinero, Ethan Murphy in third, Parker Chiapuzzo in P4, Nathan Himperly found fifth place, Jordan Scarriott in sixth, Matt Toppin in seventh, Christopher Ondera, Jonathan Lanton, and Dwight Hibbs round out your top 10. From there, we go P11, David Moore, Philip Kaiser in P12, Benjamin Bechtel P13, Doug LaRosa P14, Jake Glazer, Ryan Geckler, Matthew Santerciero, Dayton McGuire, Aiden Toohey, Adrian Wedderburn, and then from there it was Seth Fosselman, Graham Lewis, the 22 GT3 AM cars to take on this run. Patrick, do we have anybody available for an interview right now? Any of our race winners, have they made their way down? Let's take a look here and see who there is. Cody Peredato has made his way down. And Patrick, what do you say you speak with our race winner, Cody Peredato?
I think that's a fantastic idea. So, Cody, I mean, a very nail biter of a finish here. So, how do you feel about that?
Great. I feel like we did a good job overall, both as a team and individually with what we were doing during the race. So no big mistakes, which was the important part, especially with traffic here. There's a lot of really uncomfortable corners to get around and manage the other class that we got away with this time, at least.
So you were fighting pretty much the entire race with Antonio Costa. So how did that feel to go through that battle?
It was good. I mean, we're teammates. We were talking the whole time. We were largely just working through traffic together, trying to figure out how we can best pull away from Gummer behind, which ended up being a bigger gap than we expected at the finish. But yeah, it was mostly just managing traffic. We weren't going to do anything too stupid around each other, but still leaving room to fight each other when we could.
It was very entertaining to watch here up in the booth. So the last question I'm going to have for you before I let you go is, next week we go to the Spa Endurance Pits layout, a 90-minute race instead of the usual 60. What are your thoughts and feelings going into that race?
That'll be an interesting one. There's probably going to be a lot more fuel saving for us in the P2s during that race. The longer races, it's more of a up in the air on what our pit strategy is. If we need to take two, maybe three stops, because we do blow through fuel on high speed tracks. So we'll see, but it should be fun. I'm excited.
Yeah, I know we're going to have fun here in the commentary booth. Well, once again, congratulations on the win, and we will see you next week.
Sounds good. Thank you so much.
Not a problem.
All right. From there, let's go ahead and get our GT3 Pro winner, Colin Bourdon, who had a great run. Colin, tell me, how did Fuji treat you here today?
Mic check.
There we go. Now I can hear Colin.
Sorry about that.
No, you're good. Man, you look like you had fun here in Fuji. How did this track treat you today? And, how was the Mercedes?
Track's good. I connect with this track pretty well for some unknown reason. So it was a lot of fun just managing tires, trying to stay out of the ABS as much as possible. just trying to stay chill. Tyler's always will make you sweat when he's behind you, so it was a good race.
Kind of talk to me through on the run. I mean, I didn't feel like you were, at least in the booth. I'm going to say this in the booth. It didn't feel like you were ever under a lot of pressure from behind. It seemed like you kind of had a good dominant run early on, but maybe you felt different in the seat. Kind of how did it feel for you, sort of just managing pace, managing the run there in your car?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty tense for me just watching the relative like a hawk. Try not to do that, but can't help it in that situation when it's Tyler and Chris behind me. So, yeah, it was just it was a matter of just trying to stay calm and just do my laps and head down. That's about it.
Colin, it was a lot of fun to watch, man. I got to ask, how do you feel about 90 minutes of Spa next week?
Really good. I really enjoy Spa. That's for whatever reason another track that connects with me pretty well. So looking forward to it. Looking forward to doing the 24 as well.
Awesome, man. Congratulations on the win. Look forward to seeing how you do at Spa, and good luck on the 24 too. That's always a hard one to do.
Yep. Thank you. See ya.
All right, and last but not least, Patrick, I see Tyler C is waiting to speak with us. We'll let you speak with him, the GT3 AM winner.
Sounds like a fantastic plan. All right, so Tyler, first and foremost, congratulations on a class win here at Fuji. And how did you feel about this race? Because it seemed like it was pretty intense for you at some points.
Yeah, I was pretty nervous going into the race. This is probably the least familiar track so far in the season. So I felt like I did pretty good for that. And yeah, I did have some moments just driving on my own, but I managed to hold on.
Yeah, so I mean, it was a fantastic drive for you. And I believe this is your first win here at Elbows Out, isn't it?
Yep. Yeah, I'm super happy.
As you should be. I mean, you had a fantastic drive today. So I have two more questions for you. The first one, 90 minutes of Spa next week. What are your thoughts?
We're really excited. I love Spa, and my teammate in this league and I are planning on doing the 24 with a couple other buddies. So it's just going to be a great week of racing.
All right, the last one, the question that is on everybody's mind right now. How often do people use your last name as a pun outside of us here in the commentary box?
I've never heard it before. You guys are super original.
That is honestly kind of a shocker, but yeah, it's good to see you in the commentary box here. I mean, hopefully we'll see you get some very solid results at both the 90-minute race here at Elbows Out Racing at Spa, and also to you and your buddies for the 24 hours of Spa. Like Brad said, it is going to be a very hard race, but once again, congratulations. Good luck on the 24, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks, guys. Really been enjoying the streams, too. Good job, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tyler. All right, and then just because I have to entertain somebody, Zachary, one certain someone who finished all the way back in P34, has messaged me asking if he could come up just to have a quick chat. So, Zach, how's it going, man?
It's been better. I just, yeah, there's a story to tell.
Do tell.
So you guys saw the contact early on, right?
Yes, no, maybe. I don't remember. It's been
Yeah,
a long
so
race.
I got turned backwards, and you guys see my sponsor every single week, and it's Coke Zero. I got so angry when I got turned backwards that I had to crack open a couple of Coke Zeros. I was sitting there for a little bit. That then led to an emergency, and I had to pit for 20 minutes. So it's just not looking good with the Coke Zero sponsor. I don't know if this is going to work out, honestly.
Well, I do know a good sponsor that you could put on there. We'll talk about that off stream, though. We'll see if we can't get you and your teammate Paul Nye the Donut Guy a new sponsorship for next week. I have connections.
Yeah. I think they paid us already for the whole season. I think I just got to fill a couple of cans up with some water.
For sure, man. While you're in the booth, anyone you want to thank or shout out?
I'd love to shout out everyone who shows up. Obviously, you guys put on a great show every single week. Shout out to my cat for jumping on my steering wheel.
Oh
Yeah.
God.
Yeah,
Man.
shout out to everybody, really.
Awesome. Zach, I guess congratulations on the 0-0. Yeah,
Thank you.
We'll talk off stream on that one. But guys, we're gonna send this one off into the sunset. Patrick, you've been in the booth with me for the whole broadcast. Any final thoughts before we send this one off?
I think it would be excellent if you guys tuned in for the next race at Spa, because all the drivers we've interviewed so far have had very positive things to say about Spa, and Spa is a fantastic track. So yeah, you guys definitely don't want to miss next week.
Absolutely. On behalf of Patrick, on behalf of the league, big shout out and lots of love goes to International Decorators Inc. for bringing this series to the screen. Be sure to check out 4idi.com here for this week. This week, of course, was the Know the Specs, Use the Specs 60. Next week, it is a 90-minute race, and we'll have lots of fun with that one. But on behalf of Patrick, my name is Brad. We've taken you start to finish. Be sure to join us next week where we'll take you for 90 minutes. Start to finish yet again. Good night.